Can we not be excused for believing that one day we are fated to run into the man or woman of our dreams? One mid-morning in early December, I was sitting in the economy section of a British Airways jet making its way from Paris to London. And oddly, the passenger on my left had just taken off her headphones in order to study the safety instruction card. We're all going to die if this thing screws up, so what are these jokers going on about? Sorry, I mean, it's not a bad way to go, you know, it's very quick, especially if we were to hit land and you're sitting in the front. Sorry, I haven't introduced myself. My name is Chloe. Oh, God. I hate traveling. I hate arriving even more. I get real arrival angst. It's like, whenever I've been away for a while, I always think something terrible has happened. Like all of my friends have come together and decided they hate me. All my cacti have died. She had short, chestnut-colored hair, large, watery green eyes. Her shoulders were slim, and her nails showed they were chewed. She then embarked on what promised to be a very long and boring story about a holiday she had taken one summer with her brother. But however awkward it was that she rarely finished her sentences, and was anxious, and did not have the best taste in earrings, she was adorable. While Chloe talked, I realized, as if it had been the most self-evident of truths, that I loved her. Love matters. Anyone who shared intimacy with a partner, looked upon their first child, or experienced the depth of a lasting friendship knows this. It's the main tenet of all the world's major religions, from Christianity to Buddhism, preached by leaders like Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King, and has inspired countless paintings, movies, songs, and literature. Even scientists have tried defining it with a chemical formula: dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, though the wrong amount of any one component can cause schizophrenia, paranoia, or insanity. Yet it is one of the first things we understand and communicate as children. It exists among animals and the least intelligent among us. It is the place of higher consciousness and all things eternal, where we are the better versions of ourselves, placing others' well-being before our own. It's no wonder why the greatest philosophers across time all understood that our highest calling is to love. On Love by Alain de Botton. Do we not fall in love partly out of a momentary will to not see through people, even at the cost of blinding ourselves? What is so frightening is the extent to which we may idealize others. I mean, I must have known that Chloe was only human, but could I not be forgiven for my desire to suspend such a thought? We fall in love hoping we won't find in another what we know is in ourselves. All of the cowardice, weakness, laziness, dishonesty, compromise, stupidity. I recognized in her the woman I had clumsily been seeking all my life. Chloe and I seized upon details that we had been destined for one another. We both played clarinet, we both had 2 large freckles on the toe of our left foot, and a cavity in the same rear molar. I mean, it seemed impossible that this could have been anything but fate. The thought of Chloe did not stop haunting me in the days that followed our encounter. My mind drifted irresponsibly, but irresistibly back to her. But when I finally reached Chloe at work the following day, she seemed to have relegated me to the next world. Listen, we're really busy around here right now. I'm sorry I can't talk. Can I call you back? Whatever intimacy I had imagined, we were strangers. So when Chloe finally did call, I was caught unprepared. Are you free to take this afternoon off by any chance? We could go to the National Gallery or something. I followed a few paces behind Chloe, trying to focus on the paintings, but only able to look at her. She turned to face the paintings, and her hand brushed against my hand. Was the hand a symbol of desire, or the unconscious spasm of a tired arm muscle? Chloe's every gesture became imbued with maddening significance. Was I correct to detect traces of flirtation at the end of her sentences and the corners of her smiles? Or was this merely my own desire projected? My sense of inferiority bred a need to take on a personality that was not my own. Who could I become to please her? I had to find out more about Chloe. Otherwise, how could I abandon my true self unless I knew what false self to adopt? Does not every love story have these moments? Chloe's shoes were only one of a number of false notes in the early period of our relationship. I mean, why did she insist on leaving the pasta to boil for a fatal extra few minutes? And why did she have to do her gym exercises in the bedroom every morning? And why did she hate seafood so much? So, what was wrong with Chloe's shoes? Objectively speaking, nothing. But when did one ever fall in love objectively? She bought them one morning, and the shoes were well made. They were imaginative, and I detested them. Hurt and disturbed by the unexpected turn in our relationship, I asked myself, how could a woman who walks into my life in sensible, flat black shoes and who claims to love and understand me be drawn to such shoes? Yet, outwardly, I simply inquired in what I trusted to be an innocent tone, did you keep the receipt? What? What do you mean, did I keep the receipt? They're not televisions, why not just tell me you hate them? When my own parents divorced, I recalled my mother warning me not to fall into an unhappy relationship because her mother had fallen into one and her mother before that. Was this not some hereditary psychological curse? I confess that ended in the second greatest argument of our relationship. In tears, insults, shouting, and the right shoe crashing through a pane of glass onto the pavement. Does not every love story have these moments? So Chloe and I overcame some of our differences because we had the will to make jokes of the impasses we found in each other's characters. I could not stop hating Chloe's shoes, and she continued to like them. But we at least found room to turn the incident into a joke. It may be a sign that two people have stopped loving one another when they're no longer able to spin differences into jokes. Habits began to leak between us. I acquired Chloe's need for total darkness in the bedroom, and she followed my way of folding the newspapers. I took to wandering in circles around the sofa to think a problem through, and she acquired a taste for lying on the carpet. Diffusion brought with it intimacy. Late one Sunday, Chloe and I were sitting in this cafe, just sitting in silence. She was reading the newspapers, and I was staring out the window at the traffic and people outside. Suddenly, she leaned over, gave me a kiss, and whispered, "You're wearing your lost orphan boy look again." No one had ever ascribed such an expression like that to me before. Though when Chloe mentioned it, it at once accorded with and alleviated the confused sadness I happened to be feeling at the time. I felt an intense love for her on account of that remark, because of her awareness of what I had been feeling, but had been unable to formulate myself. Perhaps it is true that we do not really exist until there is someone there to see us existing, that we cannot properly speak until there is someone there who can understand what we are saying. And then in essence, we are not wholly alive until we are loved. Is it any wonder that the concept of a God who can see us has been central to many religions? To be seen is to be assured that we exist, and all the better if one is dealing with a God or a partner who loves us.